Hello, thanks for joining us on Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Danik Boy. Today on the Hangout, Acting President Osinbajo and governors in marathon meeting over security threat. And later on the program, INEC receives signatures on Dino Melaye's recall. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otisoju, Dare Odufowokon and Charles Ideho. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Journalist Hangout starts now. The 3-month quick notice issued by some Arewa youth to all Igbos living in the north has not only heated the polity in Nigeria today, it has kept the federal government busy. Last week, the acting president met with leaders of thought from both the east and the north separately to quell the barrage of hate speeches served by their youth. Sadly, those at the center of the hate campaign say the meeting was a waste of time. Neither IPOB nor Arewa youth decided to sheath their sword. On Wednesday, the acting president pushed his consultation much further by meeting with all the state governors. He said they have a huge role to play in ensuring peace and security in their respective domains. Without preempting the outcome of its consultation, the People's Democratic Party advised the federal government to take steps to convene a national dialogue to examine Nigeria's federal structure. Can Nigeria afford to ignore this piece of advice at a time like this? I'll start with you, Dari. Now, not that question now, but looking at the effort being made by the acting president for meeting with leaders of different regions, the north and the southeast and all of that, and now he's meeting with the governors. How much of a solution, lasting solution, will these consultations bring to what is going on now?
Yeah, thank you very much. We obviously must appreciate the effort of the acting president. Though I would say that what he is doing now is something that ought to have been done before. We are talking about the quit notice given by the Arewa youth. When
you say before, let me take you back. When should it have happened?
That's exactly what I want to say. We are talking about the quit notice given by the Arewa youth. Hate speeches and threats didn't start with that. We had IPOB making inflammatory statements for months before that came. We had even Fulani herdsmen forming a group and saying if one of them is touched anywhere in the southwest, there will be bloodshed. We've had similar things, and not much was done. While I appreciate Acting President Osinbajo for taking the bull by the horn, I would also say Nigeria as a nation should learn from what is happening now, that we must learn to be proactive. When things happen, we react accordingly. And when we do that, we'll save ourselves a lot of hassles and a lot of tension like the one we have now. Be that as it may, I see this consultation going very far if it is sustained. The youths and the IPOB that are saying it's a waste of time, for me, they are still beating the drums of war. And after exhausting consultation, I am very sure that the presidency will act accordingly. If you have been appealed to, you have been, urged, you have been begged to respect. We are not begging you not to do what you ought to do, but to respect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you refuse, then obviously the rules are very clear, the laws are very clear. The rule of law will then take effect. And I know that when that happens, most of these agitators will actually be nowhere to be found.
Really, Charles?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me praise the wisdom of the acting president for having the political will to come out to want to say something against it, because before now, things would have gone far before they start doing damage control. But it's like it's timely, and it's nipping it to the bud, because if we allow it to go further than this, it's not good. It's an e-way that will blow nobody any good. But having said that, I think it may not go far, but in the short run, it has been able to bring about a state of quiet in all these respective areas where you'll be having all those agitation. You cannot ask a man not to agitate, But first of all, he has to do it through legal means. The Southeast have a right. I mean, those people have a right to agitate if they feel cheated or if they feel that there be what the language is that marginalization. Everybody's talking about. Even I just read this morning that the Fulanis in Taraba, they are crying that the Taraba State indigenous want to wipe them out. They are also crying about marginalization. These are the Fulani we are also saying they are doing havoc over here. So what the acting president is doing, as I said, is timely because whether you like it or not, all these leaders of thoughts, most of them, whether you like it or not, most of them are part of those people, in quote, beating the drums. You may not see them. So the IPOB we are seeing on the street of Enugu, street of Port Harcourt, they are just foot soldiers. There are generals. You know, when you go to war, the generals you don't see them every day. No. Before somebody pulls a trigger, somebody has given the command. So there are people who are beating the drums for them. So these are the people that mostly the president is, vice president, the acting president is meeting now. And if he's able to speak to them, to assuage them, they are going to take this thing back. If within them there are people who are beating the drums, I'm sure they're going to be able to talk to their foot soldiers to lower their stance, and then maybe there might be a semblance of peace.
If you believe that they will talk to their foot soldiers, how is it that they didn't talk to them when they were making those moves at the time until the president had to wade in?
Well, if they have vested interest in this agitation, they're not going to talk because they will find a way to always fly the kite. Let's fly this kite. And if the kite flies well, and then you have very good wind, and then you sail with it. But when they feel and then the center is not coming to talk to them, it means that the kite they flew it got noticed. So there's no way they would have talked to their boys if they were in tacit support, as I said. If they were people who were beating the drum, you are beating the drum, people are dancing to it. How can you tell them not to dance to their drum beat? So what the president is doing is meeting all these leaders of thought and wherever they are, especially governors. Governors, they also have some measure. They may not have security power, but they have influence in those their domains. There are some people they can reach out to say, well, you know what? Let's just get these things addressed, and then the people can listen.
Today, your thoughts
on what?
On what we are discussing, Oshibajo's move so far.
Yeah, the acting president has done well. What is happening cannot be taken lightly, and I find it really, really disturbing that a group of old men calling themselves youths, because just as Erufai said, some of them are his age mates. So it is downright irresponsible for you to be old. You are a grandfather, and you are calling yourself youth. You should be ashamed of yourself. And then you gather in the north. You have nobody's mandate, and you are issuing threats and recalling events that are better forgotten by Nigerians. They've been recalling what happened in 1966. That what happened in 1966 shows the extent of the hatred of the Igbos for Nigeria. They talked about how officers of northern extraction from the level of lieutenant colonel were killed, by the Igbos, and how even when the counter coup happened and Gawan became head of state, how out of hatred again, the Igbos refused to recognize Gawan, and then they went on and on. That they did in a letter to the acting president. It is the height of irresponsibility, because we are trying to douse the tension that you have created. The fire that you stoked, we are trying to put out the fire. And because they have not been locked up, they had the cheek to be writing a letter to the acting president, and even telling the acting president to do his utmost to ensure that the Igbos are relocated from the north. These guys are irresponsible. You can't continue on this path. People, Shetima and the rest of them, who are fanning the embers of war, what role did they play during the Civil War? The Civil War where we lost more than 1 million people. If war breaks out now, Shetima will go and hide under his bed. I'm very certain about that. Some of the people that you see shouting and abusing people and raising hell, looking for trouble here and there, they lack the guts, they lack the liver to face war. And what I'm saying is, these people should even act their age. You can't call yourself a youth. You need to look at the pictures of some of these people.
Of course, there were visuals. So.
You can't call yourself a youth. You can't say you belong to Nigerian youth at that age. At that age, you must act your age, and that is what El-Rufai is saying.
That's the visual.
Can this man, for example, the man in the middle, does it look like?
Anyway, maybe they have a new definition of youth.
Yeah, except if in their own consciousness, the word youth, the meaning of the word youth is inverted. Yeah. If it is inverted in their world, then we can permit them to continue to address themselves as youth. They are too old for what they are doing. And they should not push our country and its leadership to the edge. Because what they are doing now, I suspect that some people somewhere are actually goading these guys. I've seen some comments that I've seen some comment. No, even if they didn't start this, some comments by some leaders actually encourage these guys to go on the path that they have chosen to go. Because a former governor, for example, was saying that governors who said this guy should be arrested, that their action was irresponsible, why should they be arrested? And I look at it, I said, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, but questions have been on why they haven't been arrested.
Now, I said it, even me, I at a point, I said, look, there may be a need to just calm down. Because if you arrest immediately, it could stoke the embers of this. But they are continuing on that path. So I take back what I said. At that point, I didn't expect them to continue to even be writing who are they to be writing the acting president and be saying, look, that they stand by what they have said. You stand by the irresponsible declaration that you made. You are not speaking for anybody. You are speaking for yourself. I doubt if they were even speaking for members of their families. You are speaking for yourself, and you are acting like you have the mandate of the entire North, the North where I come from. Who mandated you to be saying this rubbish? So that is, if they continue on this path, then they have to be arrested. Nobody can be bigger than the state.
Yeah,
nobody can be bigger than the state.
The acting president has said that anyone who makes such divisive statements should face the full force of the law.
He's been saying, he has said that twice. I don't expect the acting president to say it a third time. He has said it once. He said it a second time. It is action that we now want to see.
And who is to take this action?
No, what is the IG doing? What is the duty of the police?
Remember, we had this discussion last week.
And exactly what did they say?
That is why I'm asking this question. Because if you're having a meeting with the governors, where is the IG?
See, I want to believe
the acting president
is taking one at a time.
Of this force of the law.
Like Jide said, at a time, we felt arresting this guy could be counterproductive. That is believing they will disengage from their part of dishonor. Now, they have refused to do that. The state has been magnanimous enough to say, come, you may not know the implication of what you are doing. Even at their various ages, they should know. Some of these guys, I will remember when we were in the universities way back, were, in fact, ought to have left university some 6-7 years before then. They stayed back and were still contesting election with some of us. And they are still out there, age 52, 53, 57, and they are still youth leaders. Like you suggested, we need to understand their own understanding.
So that's relative.
So if they, assuming without conceding, that's what the acting president did, they may not know the implication of that. Now they've been told twice. I don't think they need to be spoon-fed a third time. And talking about who will arrest them, then we are begging the issue. We have agencies in this country.
We have civil defense.
Civil
defense can arrest them.
Civil defense are now federal government.
Spineless people who can only make noise in their closets.
We know some of arrest.
Even
during protest, you will recall. I mean, even during protest, they will call protests at times, and you won't find them on the streets. The same set of people.
They will promise
heaven and will make this nation ungovernable. That's the word. And then
No, what
the day will come.
See, the people who want trouble, the people who like to look for trouble, they always expect children of the poor, the downtrodden, to be the cannon fodder.
Oh.
They will be in the background and just watching people kill themselves.
Can claim the credits later.
At the end of the day, they will crawl out of the underneath of their beds, you know. But they've allowed some people to needlessly lose their lives. That's why Mama Vasa said, those who die in wars are those who do not deserve to die. Because the kind of war that these funny characters are asking for, they are not going to show up when the war comes. You will not even see them. Some of them will relocate to Niger Republic.
Some of them will run
They'll
down
run
to
away.
Lagos if the north is burning. And they are there making noise.
The thing is that,
how many of them are even resident in the north?
But that is,
that's the question I wanted to ask.
I think
we know some of these guys live here in Lagos.
So they will
For
now
the
go
purpose
to-
of
they will
this,
go to Kaduna
to go and threaten.
But
to go and
Shetima is almost always in Lagos. I mean, I met him.
No, I wouldn't want to mention names.
No,
but
no,
we
no,
know
no,
their address
Most
in
of them.
Ketu.
See, this thing is that what I'm saying is that what I have particularly disturbing is the issue of when you issue a threat that those people who are uttering hate speeches will be arrested, as Jide said he has made twice, except the government goes ahead by arresting one or two of them. I'm telling you.
To make example.
To make example of them. Because when the thing happens in the East, we looked at them, so maybe police, we arrest them, so it's against the Igbo interest. When it comes to, a Yoruba president has arrested Hausa Fulani. So these are the reasons why we continue the way we are. Except they will locate. This is about Nigeria, it's not about outside. Arrest somebody. If you take one or two of them, then a strong message will be sent to them all, and then you now begin to have a semblance of fear.
You know what I think they can do now? Kano has been running his mouth and saying all kinds of
even exactly.
And he's on bail, conditional bail.
Yes, and flouting the stipulations, you know, of that that went with that bill. If they must act now in a way, if the security forces must act in a way that will show even-handedness,
that's it.
They should go and pick up Kano wherever he is. It's even telling people from the southeast to begin to amass weapons. He's pushing for his own arrest because he wants cheap popularity.
All right, we have a caller.
So when they do that, just let me know. When they do that, they should now go after the funny old men calling themselves youths from northern Nigeria, and then you pick them. That way you have achieved balance.
Yes. All right, Sam Ali, are you there? Go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, everybody there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Yes. One is surprised that as of now, after 3, I think this should be the 3rd week now, that none of these guys are the picked. If we may ask, is it because those who would have carried out the arrest are from that part of the country? But I believe if it is Kanu who I'm not from the East, neither from the West, I'm an Edo man. If any of these people, neither from the East, are spoken again, by now Kanu would have been rearrested. As Jide said, I look at those that declaration. They are old men, calling themselves youths. That they are again telling the headers of what happened in 1966. I know the number of officers who died on the 15th of January. Only one Iboma died. Hiroshi escaped because he was to be shot. Then at the repression coup on 29th of July, more than 30 officers and men from various parts of the South were murdered.
We're wasted.
But this is for telling us, because of what happened in 1966, what they did on 29th July. I wish this country the best of luck, but I'm expecting that these people should be rounded up now. Whoever they are, like Professor Agu Abdullahi and Co, should be arrested.
All right,
Yes,
Sam Ali, thank you for your contribution.
I totally agree because
I think it's the way to go.
Because you know why? First of all, the governors they're not even talking. Which means it's like
that
giving
was a point I was trying to
tacit endorsement. That's one. But
which,
if you arrest,
which governors?
No, I'm talking about the Southeast governors before now. Before he summoned them. What I'm saying first that if you pick, okay, look at even the threat Kanu and the rest have also given that you know, Anambra is going to they're going to conduct government evaluation in Anambra. He said the election will not take place in Anambra.
Yeah.
And he's saying it. And then what else?
There is no response.
How is he going to stop the election?
I'm saying
he's making utterances.
He's making
and
utterances
there should be forceful
Come and
response.
get me. Come and get me.
They should get me.
So because he wants that attention, you know, I said it from the beginning that he should not have been accorded the regard that we gave him from the first place. In the first place. So now you can see that, okay, they've given him bail, but what makes him gain traction is when he's in the hands of this Nigerian security forces. So what he wants to do now is, let me get these people to,
so I can begin
because there are some people somewhere who are even funding his devilish agitations.
When it was in detention, the fund were rolling in.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. His accounts were being funded.
There was a meeting, I saw a video of a meeting in his village, and the crowd of people, a lot of them born after the Civil War.
They didn't understand what went on.
They don't even know the name of
even those of them, you know the problem that even for those who are not even born, naturally you expect people to read history, know about their country. A lot of people do not know about their country. If you ask questions, you see grown-up Nigerians, you ask them questions about their country. Many of them can answer simple questions about their country. Oh, which is the largest state in Nigeria? They don't know. They can tell you it's your state. They know nothing about their country. So when they don't even know they don't have sufficient knowledge of their country, how can they know the history of their country?
Exactly.
They will not, they can't tell you that this is the number of people that died during the Civil War. This is what people went through. So they are stoking the embers of war. War is not desirable. Look at Mosul, for example. Since last year, they've been battling over one town.
Yes.
Over one town. They can't take back one town. Since last year. So do you know how many people have died in that area? So those who want war,
they really don't understand.
Even Ojukwu that started it, he said, look, the very first one was needful, but the second one not necessary anymore. I mean, that's a man who was like a messiah of the Southeasterners.
Now let's look at the advice the PDP is giving the federal government to take steps to convene a national dialogue to examine Nigeria's federal structure. Dari.
Well, for me, we seem to have been meeting too much. National convention, national conference, national confab. Now the new one is national dialogue. Are we building vocabularies or finding solutions? I am bothered that while talking and dialoguing may be good, we should act more and talk less.
When you say act more, what do you mean?
We have institutions. You see, some of these conferences.
Which institutions are you talking about?
We have the presidency. We have the National Assembly. This issue that PDP is now calling for national dialogue for, threats from south to the north, threats from north. These are issues within the purview of the executives. And while I agree very well that the acting president is on the right track, I insist, rather than sitting down to talk alone and issuing threats, because what he's also doing now is issuing threats, he's joining them to issue threats. Don't move out of the north.
But
you will not leave the north. I will deal with you if I don't.
Yes, because you can't keep quiet and be watching people do. You want him to keep quiet?
No, he has said that enough. Now,
no, don't say he's issuing threats, because he has to respond to what is happening. Well, otherwise he's not a leader.
So he has to arrest the drift.
Yes, so we can't watch them do it.
Having arrested the drift now, I expect him to use the powers of his office to arrest the situation.
No, which is what he's doing by calling out
the He has told them. He has spoken. What dialogue are we looking for again? However, I read something today somewhere, the release by IPOB, saying the people you call does not in any way represent
them.
Now we should read between the lines in that statement. I was reading and I saw something that none of those people you invited gave the instruction that people should sit at home. So they have exposed the fact that what they are looking for is attention. They have exposed the fact that they are merely...
Kanu is not an Igbo leader. So when he said they should have invited
who? As what?
It's like endorsing
inability. He's not an Igbo leader. He will not be invited.
Kanu, as of today, is standing trial. He's on bail. So we should invite people who flout our laws to meetings and
now endorse him.
They should bring back the Christmas Day bomber.
So
when we want to talk and we need people from the north,
then we'll bring Shekau. That's what they're asking for. If you read between the lines,
it's a comedian.
Both Yerima Shetima as well as the Kanus of this world, for me, the Tea Party should be over by now for them.
It's getting over.
It should be over by now. Nigeria is still one country.
They've gone underground.
It's one country. And I believe that after this series of meetings, we may not find them.
Action next.
But this is not the first time we're having meetings and having dialogue and all of that. Is it really addressing the core issues or the matters why people are agitating for cessation and all of it, Charles?
No, the thing is that they've been, whatever nomenclature you need to advance. Either there is a conference, the one Nadeko was calling, the one Nadeko has been calling for
national conference,
whatever they say, we call it sovereign national conference. Whatever nomenclature, I don't really care. What I care for is that when we do meet, papers are presented, ideas are raised, suggestions are made. Question is that what do we usually do with
those
all
reports?
the what we have amalgamated? What do we do with that? Look at the 2014 confab. The reports are still there. So most of these things that are bedeviling the country today are all embedded in those reports.
If you could just hold the thoughts. We have Okafor from Niger State on the line. Are you there? Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello.
Yes, hi. Go ahead.
I quite appreciate what you are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry not to take you back, but I just want to say something that I know that if that thing is done, corruption will stop, and it will stop forever. That thing is this. If in that national conference people are talking of, all the Nigerians will come together and all of us will carry placards and denounce corruption. Everybody, all Nigerians, because when somebody is corrupt, he knows that you are corrupt yesterday. So even if as you are trying him, just so that you see CCT, the man has problem, he capitalize on that, you don't want to be open, his own secret, he doesn't want it to be just open. So let everybody say, yes, I'm corrupt yesterday, but today, I'm not corrupt again. Then, even if anything is happening, if you say somebody's corrupt, you tell you, no, it was yesterday that we denounced that I denounced corruption. So every Nigerian force, all of us should denounce corruption.
All right, thank you, Okafor.
So as I was saying, all these papers that were presented, all the ideas and rest of them, very germane. If you the 2014 conference, for instance, they were able to handle a wide range of issues that, if you look at them, most of them will address even what, as I said, bedeviling the country today. But when they come, we keep them in abeyance. We will go for another one again. So instead of going for another confab or whatever, as I said, I expect that this current government, what they need to do is that if it is the one they had before, I mean, we have even no fewer than 10. They could look at them, pick randomly. They can pick randomly and then put them together and see how we can now use that as a basis for us to move forward. If you are going back to another confab, we're still going to go back again, talk about the issues already dealt with, and then nothing will happen. So it's not about the confab is not the problem, is that the lack of willpower to enforce some of these things that we have discussed about.
The thing is, the issues, if we truly want to unite Nigeria,
yes,
those issues, those recommendations of the confab must be backed by law. Without being backed by law, it won't be binding. Today in Rwanda, you can't call yourself a Hutu.
A Hutu or a Tutsi.
Or Tutsi. You go to jail. You call yourself
a Rwandan.
They've settled that. They've settled that. So as Nigerians, there is no doubt about it, we need to sit down and talk on the basis of our togetherness. When we talk issues like power sharing, because power sharing is crucial to the problems confronting our nation is one major issue that must be addressed. And the confab in 2014, just like the one Obasanjo organized in 2006, actually asked for rotatory presidency. And last week we were discussing, it was suggested, for example, that look, if we have rotatory presidency, you have a president from one geopolitical zone, it will have two deputies. Two deputies from different geopolitical zones. If this president dies or something happens, then because one of the deputies must come from his geopolitical zone, he steps in to continue that person's term. It will solve a lot of problems. It will solve a lot, because what happened, part of why Nigeria is deeply divided now was the mistake that Goodluck Jonathan made at that time. Goodluck Jonathan was not ready to relinquish power. And the North, especially the Northwest, felt, look, let our son complete the term of the president that died. But that was not what happened. So the North felt shortchanged, and that was why there was so much acrimony in the months leading to the 2015 election, that even the PDP found it difficult to campaign in any part of the North. Even people like Sule Lamido, as strong as they were, he had to tell his supporters not to bring PDP flags to campaign grounds. It was that bad. Everyone in the North wanted power to come back to the North because they felt shortchanged under Jonathan. So power, a rotatory presidency will solve a lot of problems. And within the states too, if power is rotated between the senatorial zones, it will also address the concerns of minorities in those states, because minorities occupy some senatorial zones in all states in this country.
All right, Jide, you have to talk more on this
but
when
the thing is
we
that,
return from the break. Stay with us. You're still watching Thursday's edition of Journalist Hangout, and before we went on break, Jide was talking about certain issues that need to be
I was going to ask him.
Okay.
The issue of, he was talking about the confab report was not backed by law. I said, but the National Assembly is already asking for the report to be brought to them, which is, for me, I mean, it's a good thing for us to cheer about. If, for instance, what he's saying is that it ought to have been backed up by the law.
Yeah, at the point, that is why
the report, yes.
They are asking for the report. They are asking for the report, and they've said that the executive should implement some of the report. How? Of course, the executive has been implementing the idea of the TSA was from the confab. Yes. The idea of setting up these commissions, what was it called? The Niger Delta, Southeast, was a recommendation of the confab in 2015. Yes. I mean, that was the idea. The confab also recommended that pilgrimage should no longer be government sponsored.
Which is what
states are doing it already now. States are doing it. Yeah. The confab also recommended the school feeding program. Yes. Which Osun State popularized. Yes. Osun State way back. So they also they also recommended it and suggested that it should be taken a notch further, so that up to GSS 3. They can benefit, children can benefit. So government is implementing some of the suggestions, but the suggestions, the recommendations of the confab that in my view will enhance the unity of Nigeria have to do with power sharing, and all that. Let us face it, there is so much on his in our country rivalry over the issue of power and all that. Oh, these people want to continue to dominate. These people want to do this. These people want to do that. Yeah. Do you know? And I know that it is possible. When you say people should not, that we don't need to talk. How did Obasanjo become accepted in northern Nigeria in 1999? Because people came together and felt, look, the Southwest has suffered over this Abiola palaver. Many people were killed here in the south in Lagos. Let us make them happy. The first attempt to make them happy was when they brought Shonekon,
Yes,
also from Abeokuta.
And they noticed
But they saw that the people
didn't
continued to agitate for Abiola, that Shonekon was not the person who won the election. You may have brought him from the same town, but it was rejected. In the end, they agreed. When the former president went to Yola prisons and saw Obasanjo there and wept publicly, he decided that Obasanjo had to be brought out of prison, and unanimously it was resolved that Obasanjo should be the candidate. The North overwhelmingly supported Obasanjo. The Southwest overwhelmingly rejected Obasanjo.
But he still won.
Because you still won.
Because it was like an
because those guys
imposter.
concluded that yes, this was the person. So if that concession could be made at that time, it was the same way that a concession was made for the South to produce a deputy to Yaradua. Which
Just
allowed
to balance up
yes,
the
which
power.
allowed Goodluck Jonathan
to
emerge as
on
president
his
when he
journey
died.
to
This was this was just meant to make people happy
But
and douse tension in our land.
It's not far-reaching. If it's far-reaching, then all these actions would have
Because even them,
some of these things are not
you don't.
legal
Then,
yet.
if you heard what I was saying, I
that
said
it needs to be
people need
backed
to
by
talk.
law.
Yeah, exactly.
People sat down and talked and agreed that let's have amnesty
Yes.
program. People sat down and talked and said let's have the South produce the vice
But
president.
my problem is that the problem I have is that when we are going back again to talk, the modus operandi that will be used for representation is always a problem.
I still
No, it's
insist-
not a
because-
problem.
because-
It's not a
I
problem.
say-
It's not a problem.
I still insist
Let me
we
tell
have
you,
done-
in the
we've done
past,
enough
it all
talking.
It's all about
what
action.
did
Now.
we action? You want the executive to
No, they can't
how
do
can
it.
the executive just you can't unite
You
a
can't
people
unite
by
people, you
fiat.
cannot. It has to
Even
be-
the Rwandan people that we are talking about, they had to sit
They
down and
they
talk.
sat down. and
Colombia,
after sitting
in
down,
Colombia,
they
people have
started taking
fought for
action.
war,
They
for
ended
civil
up
war
sitting
more than
down.
40 years. Have they not sat
before
down
you
to
say,
talk?
how do you get people to represent them?
Yes.
And represent the issue?
And then we
Can you ask a
Yes,
question?
it's a
Can you
question,
wait
yes.
and let me give you the answer based on
Gentlemen, we
history?
need to be wrapping
Based
up
on
this
history,
discussion.
in the past, elections were held
Yeah, exactly.
for people to get into those constituent
And that's the
assemblies.
process.
We are done. So that is an
That's
option.
we've
That is
done
an option.
that.
So
We've
if
done
the
that on
people
5 occasions,
Eh.
at least, not less than 5.
Five.
One fact,
Can you
one
can
friend.
you
There
can
are
There are
can you count the
reports.
5? You have not done that up to 5 times.
There was
There was
1999.
1999.
I'm a historian. I will prove to
Okay,
you
that,
that
I think that
some of
that-
what
that's
happened.
recent
What
past.
what
That's
happened
recent
to
I
that
think we have
of
the
Goodluck.
99 constitution anyway.
We
Yeah,
came out from
Obasanjo
that. We
came-
out from that.
Take
Came out from
it,
that.
take it from me that you've not
Came
done
out
it
from
up to
that.
5 times.
Came out from that.
All right,
You
gentlemen,
don't want
can we
people
move on
else to
now?
talk as a people,
Can we move on now?
but we cannot say that talking is a crime.
It is not,
Yeah,
but
but
now
how?
let
Because
us
it
ask.
will lead.
No, it will lead
Let's
to
have some of the reports.
The way
implemented.
no, the thing is, some of them, if they are not backed by law, you can't
Let
implement.
them back them by
The
law.
one- oh,
Let
so-
them back
Gentlemen,
So how do you back them by law?
Those people who are beneficiaries of this system, they come back
No,
Alright.
No,
you
they
said
come
the
back.
National
Alright,
Assembly
thank
is
you.
asking
How
for
did
it.
the
Thank you.
1979 constitution
We
come?
need to move on now.
Was it not a product of Constituent
Gentlemen, we
Assembly?
need to move
Constituent
on
Assembly.
now.
Okay.
Now,
The
now.
National Assembly is
No,
asking for it. Let's
Dari,
give
Dari,
them.
I'm moving
The
on.
uncle is
Well, in the last 2 years, Senator Dino Melaye has been far more popular from a string of controversies dangling on his neck and his Ajekuya video than the bills he has sponsored in the Senate. Recently, his constituents began the process of recalling him from the Red Chamber by collating signatures of the electorate in his constituency. Today, what started as a mere hearsay has taken a historic turn. On Wednesday, his constituents submitted a petition containing 188,500 signatures of registered voters in his senatorial district to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. They want him removed as their representative in the Red Chamber over his abysmal performance. I beg your pardon. They are angry that he does not have a constituency office in Kogi West. He has never held a meeting with them and has never given account of his stewardship. By reacting to the action, the Ajekuya Krona said the whole exercise is a comedy of errors. He said some of his constituents will go to jail for forging signatures. Well, what kind of a representative feels comfortable running away from the people he is supposed to be representing? Dari.
Well, like you said, I remember Dino more now for his musical prowess than for legislative achievements. And that aside, I am more interested in this exercise, not really because it involves Dino Melai, but because we may be seeing an opportunity to actually test one of the provisions of our laws that stipulates that non-performing representatives can actually be recalled. We all know this part of the law is there, but maybe we've not really seen it in action. And now, Kogi, from whence we have felt apologies were necessary, nothing good.
Be careful.
Well, that's
Jide is here.
We have to Kogi.
Well.
Against all of us.
Like some of us have said in the past, the news emanating from Kogi have not been really encouraging. But I see this as very encouraging. Kogi may just be about to give us something to share, where we see one of the provisions of our law actually working. The law is very clear, and the people said, okay, let us try it. They went out, gathering signatures. The musical senator probably felt it was a joke. Yesterday, on Wednesday, 6 bags of signatures landed in Abuja at ANEC. And I'm sure wherever my comrade is, he will begin to see that this is assuming.
Serious. All right.
And for me, ANEC saying, yes, we got this, and we are going to process it, is a step in the right direction.
Okay.
And I want to believe sincerely that what is left now is for INEC and every other agency that will be involved in this to be very careful in handling this. It is exemplary and people are interested in.
Yeah, Charles, there are reports from views around that some persons were bought over to do this recall, and that it is a failed project before it started. And you know, before we came on the air, we were talking about the tortuous exercise for a recall. Now, how do you see this playing out?
That song was, you know, you kept saying there's it makes me laugh. And it's so bad that anytime you remember Dino Melai, it's that bad that when you call a senator's name, you remember the mundane, not something that has to do with tangible. So having said that, what is happening now, but people should not rejoice yet, because there are still hurdles. First, there is this issue of verification of the signatures, whether they are fictitious or not. After that, if they have able to do and they scale through, I think the letter is supposed to be,
there is a referendum.
To a referendum. After that, they now go to meet the Senate president, who incidentally, in quote, is the principal of the money question. So, but be that as it may, what is happening now is going to help our democracy to deepen the roots of democracy, because if it happens that it works out, we're going to be having a situation whereby power has gotten back to the people. Because the era of people going there without any quality representation is going to die, because these representatives will now know that if they go there and they don't do anything right, the people now have the power of recall to bring them back. Again, when they're going for elections, they have to have that popular mandate of the people. Because if you go in there through any other means, people will say, we never voted you. And they also use this, they will also activate this section 69 of the 1910 Congress amendment to bring them back. Which is, whether it works or not, we are in the right direction. At least people can now speak.
I can't wait to feel Jide's pause on this.
What if I choose not to talk?
There's no way.
He also has vested interest in
No, we can't establish that. No, I don't agree.
I don't know what to mean by vested interest.
But no.
A voice from...
Hold on, gentlemen. Let me do the asking.
I'm a commentator on national affairs.
Yes, agreed.
Not on Kogi affairs.
But we need your thoughts. Now, it has to do with the fact that this is happening after months of bickering with the governor of the state. And so they are beginning to say that this must be the hands of Esau and not the voice of Jacob. What's your perception?
Yeah, whether it's the hand of Esau or the nose of Esau, the thing is, in Nigerian politics, just as I described Nigerian politics some weeks back, Nigerian politics is like bullfighting. You want to kill the animal, and the animal has a perfectly legitimate right to also kill you, because he sees that you are a threat. So Yahya Bello already sees Dino as a threat. And he wants to take out Dino. And he also knows that Dino is not really popular, especially in the Yoruba-speaking part of Kogi. I said it here when somebody said, oh, people voted for Dino at that time because they didn't know who they were voting for. Dino lost in all the Yoruba-speaking parts of Kogi in 2015. Nigerians should know that. Or even in his hometown, he lost. So he is that intensely hated by the people he represents. So that kind of person shouldn't be difficult to recall. You can talk about processing, long processes and all that, but don't joke with the determination or the people who are tackling him. This is a man who has burned his bridges, who has set ablaze his aces. So when you have offended so many people, I don't even know who will come and fight for him. You can, for me, if I have my way, I will want Yahya Bello and Dino recalled. Both of them are really not useful to Kogi State. Because Dino and his aberrant and funny theatrics in the National Assembly has diminished Kogi people. He has diminished even the Halo Chambers. He should be hanging out with Agodai, Basket Mouth, and the rest of them. But even his own brand of comedy will not sell.
Wow.
That is the thing. His brand of comedy will not sell. When a senator of the Federal Republic launches into unprovoked dancing, how do we describe that? Because I've seen videos of him just dancing. I will say, what is the meaning of this? You are not the youngest person to get into the Senate. Our fathers, like the like of Bola Ige, they were very young when they got into the National Assembly. Bola Ige, all of them, they were very young. Now you see a man in his 40s, already in his 40s, acting, not acting his age, and then dancing, launching into dancing with the decrepit representation that he has given us in that place. If he will live today, I'm not going to shed a tear for him. And there are so many people who will not shed a tear for him. In his own local government, out of 46,000 registered voters, 24,000 voted for him to be recalled. In Lokoja, where he got the most votes in the last election, out of 116,296, 63,736 voted for him to go. Let me explain that in the last election, the votes that made Dino Melaye to defeat Smart came largely from Lokoja and Kotonkarufi. He lost in all the Yoruba speaking. It's not as if our people didn't know that a thug was on the ballot. They knew a thug was on the ballot. They were not going to vote for a thug. And now see what we have on our hands. See what we have on our hands. Somebody whose picture with his dress torn is still there all over the internet. Do you think in an election year I will see that picture and I will still want to vote for that person? No, our people roundly rejected him. In 2011, those who think Dino is fantastic as a politician, in 2011 when he contested, it was an insignificant politician that defeated him. So he has a history, a heritage of being rejected by our people. He has a heritage of being rejected. So now, let me tell you, what Yahya Bello has done is to send people to their villages, his aides, and he gave them money. Go and do your best to have this guy recalled. With the poverty in Kogi State, because somebody was banding some figures of the last election, that last election, this was the total votes recorded by Smart and this person and that person. With the poverty that is rife in Kogi now, when people have not been paid, if we bring out money for people to vote against, against their parents, they will vote against their parents. So don't be surprised that these figures, I cannot say all these figures are doctored. He's saying that, oh, some people who are dead are dead. I don't have evidence, but I know that in a place where poverty rules, like Kogi State, if you offer people a little money. I saw pictures, even from his hometown of Aito Rogbede, I saw pictures of people lining up long queues.
Was that doctor?
In his hometown.
Disabled people were begging to be helped to go
and vote.
I think people are just determined.
I mean, maybe that was done intentionally. But I saw a disabled old woman who was calling on somebody and said, just
the people are just that.
Because they know
people are
him.
tired of his distasteful pieces of comedy.
But they say the thing is that
not a stranger to these
Controversies.
antics and controversy as far as Kogi people are concerned. They know him and they know him too well. He happened on their subconscious lens by error. And seeing this, aside the money, while I want to believe that because of his face-off with the governor obviously will be happy if he's recorded, and therefore he is pushing for this.
Dino has no peace now, let me tell you.
That's the truth.
Even the dancing.
Yeah, by now I expected videos.
When last did you see a video?
No. With this, I expected the video.
He's a troubled man now. He traveled, he left, he got the DSS to give him so many people.
And he went home.
And then he went home to try to say, oh, okay, they are doing this to us because we said Yabelo must pay people salaries. That's why he went home. Don't doubt Yabelo has so much money to spare. Money that is not paying to our people as salary. Let me tell you, if he needs to destroy his adversary, he will bring out that money. He will bring out that money. All these processes that you are talking about, INEC can even be complicit in rigging it. What are we talking about?
And don't also forget that Dino himself is not popular with most people who would have come out now to
he has offended people.
Right. Well, I believe there is something I actually wanted to say, and that's the fact that what you are seeing in Kogi is just part one of a season film. This is what I mean. Yorubas will say, let us chase away the hyena, then we'll come back and meet the hen. This is what is happening in Kogi. You can see the silence from the Audu Faleke camp.
No, they can't be sent to be supporting anybody. They neither like.
It is now a case of let us watch Bello destroy Dino.
Yeah. They were friends.
So a friend of mine.
They were friends.
An enemy of my friend.
They are watching.
Dino was one of the people who brought
Bello.
Exactly.
So they don't. As far as they are concerned, as far as they can concerned,
but I tell you,
can still in his own.
But I tell you, immediately the Dino saga is over. Bello himself should not sleep with his eyes closed.
If he lies, let him sleep.
But mine is that. I want to look at the bigger picture.
Even Bello he cannot come back.
That's why he's also trying to destroy.
But I want to look at the bigger picture.
As possible.
In this, I want Nigeria to begin to look at Dino Melai as a metaphor for redressing some bad things that happen to people. Now, people in Lagos State, people in Oyo State, they can begin to take their destiny in their own hands by going the Kogi way.
If this one succeeds,
let me
tell you, if it does not succeed, let's not kid ourselves. People will not waste their time if it does not succeed.
Resources and time.
You know.
All right,
But
gentlemen.
if it
succeeds,
then
all those unpopular lawmakers.
All right, gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtains on the show. Thank you so much for coming on Thursday's edition, gentlemen. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Veronica Danik Boy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.